The question is, Bill been narrowed a second time. I call the member for Maitland.
Thank you, Mr Temporary Speaker. I rise today to speak on the Crimes Amendment Intimate Images Bill of 2017, and this is an extremely important bill which seeks to address one of the burgeoning crime areas of the digital era. The issue is colloquially referred to as revenge porn, however it goes way beyond that. It's an insidious phenomenon that has become all too common in the age of social media, including sites such as Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook and Tumblr. There's been some reporting on this issue in the last month or so from a report that was undertaken by RMIT and Monash University, which actually spoke to many Australians to look at the scale of this crime in our society. So it was the first comprehensive research on revenge porn, and it has revealed a mass scale of victimisation across Australia, with 1 in 5 people suffering image-based abuse. This survey was undertaken with around over 4,000 people and showed that women and men are equally likely to be victims, but also showed that marginalised groups are especially vulnerable, with image-based porn affecting 1 in 2 Indigenous Australians and 1 in 2 people with a disability. And the risk of victimisation by this kind of crime is also higher for young people and lesbian, gay and bisexual Australians. Now, the most common types of abuse found in this report were taking sexual or nude images without consent, 20%, distributing images without consent, 11%, and that was 11%, and threatening to share images, 9%. And I note the contribution by the member for Orange, where he talked about the threatening nature of this crime. The research was also important because it revealed the psychological toll that this crime has on victims. Images are also being used to control, abuse and humiliate people in ways that go well beyond the relationship gone sour scenario, and that was a quote from Dr. Nicola Henry, who's the chief investigator in that study. Now, legislation on this issue has been overdue for some time. The Standing Committee on Law and Justice published their report in March 2016 on this matter, and I question why it's taken so long for the government to act, particularly the Shadow Attorney General putting forward legislation into this place on the issue. Regardless, I'm glad the government is finally taking action against those who would seek to violate the privacy of other individuals in this manner, and also to try and take some steps to stop the distribution of this kind of material. Revenge porn, as we've noted in previous speakers, is the act of distributing an intimate photo, video or other media file of another person without their consent, and a more concerning type occurs when an individual obtains media of intimate nature even without the victim's consent. In fact, at sometimes these crimes are not even images of the individuals themselves. Unfortunately, this bill seeks to address both types of these revenge porn. And I do note and take very careful note of the fact that whatever circumstances this kind of imagery is taken in, it should not be laid to blame at the feet of the victim of this crime. They are not the person responsible in any scenario. Since the rise of smartphones, the sharing of intimate media between 2 consenting adults has become a common practice, and this itself should not be judged or maligned by representatives in this place. Adults who take intimate images of themselves for whatever reason and share it with a partner or friend are exercising free will, and that's their business. However, a regrettable response to the sharing of revenge porn, which I just addressed, was the blaming victims for taking an intimate image in the first place. It's too common to hear people say, well, if she or he didn't take the photo, the other party wouldn't have been able to share it. This bill makes it clear that this is a regressive attitude which will no longer be accepted in this place. We must make it clear it is solely the fault of the distributor of intimate media, and those alone should be the ones who are punished. Consensually sharing intimate image with another does not endow permission for it to be uploaded onto the internet or distributed amongst a group of people. And as Shadow Minister for the Prevention of Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, I will continue to work to address these kinds of patterns of behaviour and to stop those who commit violence against others. Individuals who use this form of crime seek to exert their control over others. In a relationship, they want to control their partner's every movement, their every message and every dollar they spend. In some circumstances, the threat of revenge porn is used as a part of the dynamic of power and control within the relationship. For example, to prevent someone from leaving, to punish them for doing so, or for acting in a way that the controlling partner does not agree with. And the threat of revenge porn is just one of the ways that these individuals threaten their partners. In her submission to the Standing Committee on Law and Justice, Ms Alexandra Davis, who's a solicitor with the Women's Legal Service, outlined some of the ways technology is being used by abusive parties to control their partners. She said that more than half of her clients on a single day presented with issues of technologically facilitated stalking and abuse. This includes the use of GPS and surveillance devices to monitor the location of the partner, and inevitably these surveillance devices can be used to obtain more intimate images without the consent of the victim. By threatening to distribute intimate media of a partner without their consent is an extremely serious offence. So Section 91R of this bill legislates to outlaw these threats. This section includes the threat to distribute intimate media that doesn't really exist, and if a partner pretends to possess intimate media and uses that to threaten their partner, the effect is exactly the same. It could also be said that this would apply to situations where a person's face is transposed onto a naked image. And again, this addresses the issue of coercion and control. The extent of revenge porn was recently revealed, as I said before, by a joint study by RMIT University and Monash. And I'm particularly concerned about the impact that revenge porn and sexual assault more widely has on our more vulnerable community, so Indigenous Australians, those with disabilities and members of LGBTQIA. Our community's most vulnerable groups are often those whose voices we do not hear enough. Last year, we also saw an internationally based website which had images from students across Australia displayed on it, and at that time police advised there was little they could do to remove the images as the site was hosted overseas. Disturbingly, there were women from all over New South Wales, many at schools from members electorates in this place, who were listed on the site, causing them a great deal of distress. In fact, I heard from a member of my community in Maitland only 2 weeks ago that his daughter had been a victim of this crime. His concern was that he had felt that the individual who passed the image onto the website was not subject to any legal consequences, and this bill does indeed make it clear that he would have been. In my capacity as Shadow Minister, I'm committed to ensuring that we elevate the voices of those marginalised groups to ensure that they are adequately represented in this place. The authors of the report concluded that a lack of proper legal and support responses make it incredibly difficult for victims to get justice. And I acknowledge that criminal issues that arise within the digital realm are constantly evolving and changing, but the government must be doing better than it is in addressing the issues that are prevalent online. It's been well over a year since the Standing Committee's report into this matter was released, with a series of clear and reasonable recommendations, and the government has allowed this report to collect dust and is now only now acting in this space. As a parliament, we must be quick and responsive in addressing criminal trends that are primarily online, as we are in other types of crime. The effects of being a victim of revenge porn are severe. In the UK, one woman had to beg Facebook 20 different times before nude pictures of her were removed from the platform. They were posted by her ex-boyfriend. She was quoted as saying, "He set out to destroy me and he has succeeded. I'm in a constant state of anxiety." There are young women and girls and older women across the state who are in this same situation. Mr. Acting Speaker, I'll just, in anticipation, ask for a short extension.
Member for Maitland has requested an extension. Is the extension time granted? It is.
Yep. After the release of the RMIT report, News Corp published an anonymous article from an Australian victim of revenge porn who explained its impact on her. Her boyfriend pressured her into taking intimate images and demanded that she pose. She felt uncomfortable and asked her partner to delete the photos, which he never did. 6 months later, the images began to circulate amongst their mutual friends after a nasty breakup. She wrote in the article just how it made her feel. She said, "I did not stop crying. I was ashamed, humiliated, alone, and I just wanted to die. I had no confidence left. I felt disgusting." This is the effect of revenge porn. This is why this bill is so important. We cannot allow controlling, vindictive individuals in our community to manipulate others and cause such harm and pain to them. In January, Facebook had to assess over 54,000 potential cases of revenge porn or sexual extortion. So I'll just repeat that for the House. In 1 month this year, Facebook had to assess over 54,000 potential cases of revenge porn. But as they acknowledge, they are not responding themselves to every case as well as they should be. Social media websites like Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Tumblr, etc. must improve at responding quickly and effectively to reports of revenge porn. And I call on the government to increase their lobbying of these websites and ensure that they are meeting community expectations in this space. One of the most concerning things that came from the distribution of those websites last year was that there seemed to be an inability of police to act because the websites were hosted overseas, leaving the victims of that crime feeling even more victimised because there was nothing supposedly that could be done to help them. I note that Section 91S of the legislation allows a court to issue an order to a convicted individual to take reasonable actions to remove media from the internet. Unfortunately, by the time these images have been uploaded, they may never be able to be fully removed without cooperation from these social media websites. And of course, there are other parts of the web which are not accessible to many of us, known as the dark web, which those pictures and images will probably stay forever. The Standing Committee recommended that the New South Wales Privacy Commission be empowered to make takedown orders to ensure that these images could be taken down quickly. That is, before they would be distributed so far and wide on the internet that they could never be retrieved. By only allowing a takedown order to be issued after a conviction, I fear that this is going to be too late for the victims of revenge porn. The passage of this bill through this place will send a clear message to those who would commit revenge porn in our state. If you do this, you will be prosecuted and you will suffer the consequences of your actions. However, I really call on the government to address the issue of getting this information down off the web as soon as possible, of working harder and faster with the owners and proprietors of the social media sites where these images are first often published, to ensure that they do not have such a negative impact on the victims of this crime. I believe in stamping out this phenomenon wholeheartedly, and for this reason I commend the bill to the House. Thank you.